humans. Thank you for being here today. It's very nice to have you here, listening to me ramble on and on. Um, and you guys are great. Did that sound real to you? Granted, I didn't put enough excitement in there, and passion and enthusiasm, but that sounded like I was starting to give a TED talk. It sounded like I was trying to sell something to you or convince you of something. I listened to a podcast episode of Diary of a CEO, and the guest on this episode was Vanessa Van Edwards, or Fun Edwards. Um, she started founded a company called The Science of People, and what she does is she trains people in how to be more charismatic, how to be less awkward in face-to-face interactions, or when giving a speech, or when talking, and she so that your delivery is as polished yet as authentic as possible. Things like when you're walking up to somebody, show them the palm of your hand, like I did in the beginning of the video. This signals to our brains this person has nothing to hide or nothing to hurt me with. Look, their palms are empty. We love it. Sitting up straight is good for your health. So maybe do sit up straight, but make sure that your shoulders are as far from your earlobe as possible. Don't be sitting like this. For some of us with longer necks, it's a little bit easier to have your shoulders far from your earlobes. If you're resting face, let me try and find mine. My resting face kind of seems, I don't know, irritated a little bit. Some of us have angry resting faces. Some of us have sad resting faces. You can you can practice just having your eyebrows up a little bit, just a little bit, or a light smile on your face, and this changes how people perceive you, um, and they put the other person at ease. She labels herself as a recovering awkward person, and now uh, I was awkward too, and sometimes still am when talking to other people, and it's not fun. It's difficult to make friends. People always get the wrong idea of you. I really don't like it when a person doesn't get the right idea of me. But I've learned to accept it that people will sometimes get the wrong idea of who you are, Justin. That's okay. They don't see all of you. That's another topic. Anyway, so she gives all of us, and she gives good pointers, good tips. She says if you don't like small talk, you can skip the small talk by asking somebody, what's something interesting that you're working on lately? Instead of asking them, what do you do? You know, we all know the what do you do question, and we don't always like it, or we're like, okay, so small talk is a stepping stone to something else, hopefully. Other times the small talk is just, small talk is sometimes necessary to get to the next thing. Um, and sometimes small talk is good, do the stuff. Anyway, what annoyed me about this conversation is that she is all this good advice that she's giving is treating the symptoms and not the actual disease. And I believe that the disease is that we are sometimes ashamed of being a human. As a human, I am sometimes nervous to speak to other people. I am scared that other people will see my flaws. I am scared to be vulnerable around other people. I don't want to. I want to exude the most confidence and the most charisma. I don't want to walk up to somebody and say, "Hi, how are you? I'm Justin." I am terribly afraid that this interaction is going to go sour, and you're going to look at me as somebody who is incompetent or cold. Um, I am not any of those, but my presentation might be. So please forgive me if that does happen. But I would very much like to learn more about you. Imagine you walked up to somebody like that. It would be very scary. But imagine somebody walked up to you like that. What would you think? Hmm? I don't know. Um, so the disease is we are scared to be human. We are scared to be authentic. But as humans, we respond most well. No, that's a poor choice of words there. We respond the best to authenticity, to people being real. Um, there was a study done where they put a blender in a mall, like a blender pop-up store type thing, selling blenders. They put the model there, and they would give the model a spiel, the words to say. Put the strawberries in, put the bananas in, press the button, and in a few short seconds, you will have a delicious smoothie. Um, so they gave the model this to say, and he or she would say it perfectly, do it perfectly, and pour the smoothie into the glass and give it to the potential buyer. And they would do everything perfectly. And then on the second occasion, same blender, same place, same model, same spiel, same sales pitch. The model, he or she would do everything just the same, just right. But when they poured the smoothie into the glass, they would mess a little bit on the glass, on the table. And they found that more blenders were sold when the model made a mistake than when the model did everything perfectly. And it's because we as human beings, who's perfect here? Not me. Who does everything just the way they want it to? If you do, write in the comments, I do everything perfectly. Or if you don't, write in the comments, I don't do everything perfectly. Anyway, we know we aren't perfect. And we know that the person that we're talking to isn't perfect. But when they come across as perfect, we're like, suspect. What's happening here? Suspect is saying all the right words. Suspect is giving off all the right cues. Our brain does that automatically. They also found that um, people who went for a job interview, if they fumbled their words a little bit, not on purpose, don't spill a smoothie on purpose now. That's also being manipulative. But if they fumbled a little bit, they were more likely to get the job than the person who did everything perfectly. Vusi Tembekwayo gave a talk on who he invests in the most. Does he invest in the product or does he invest in the person? And he said something that I thought was brilliant. He looks for when the person is given the pitch, he asks them, "What is your biggest flaw, or what's the biggest mistake you've made?" And he asked this to the one guy, and he said, "I destroyed my marriage trying to build this business." And he said he loved that answer because that means the guy had sat with himself and he was aware of the mistakes that he made. So he's not going to use my money to figure out, to make the mistakes he needs to make to grow. He's already grown. He's already learned what he needs to learn. He knows where his flaws are and where his dark sides are. And sometimes hasn't yet fixed it necessarily, but he knows where it is and he's working to fix it. So he's not going to waste my money. He knows himself well enough. Um, I'm very excited and passionate about this because so many problems, interpersonal problems, can be solved by people just being real. I am scared to approach you now, but I'd very much like to learn more about you. Or I didn't like what you did. That really, really hurt me. Or I'm sorry. Or please can you help me? Or I don't know, just be authentic. Let people see the real you. The flawed, hurting, happy, sad, excited, maybe sometimes overly excited you. And not everybody's going to like you. That's okay. But there are people who are going to like you. So I want to challenge you today. Do something that you consider to be awkward. If you think it's awkward to walk up to somebody and say, I think you've got a very pretty smile, walk away. Do something that you think will make you come across as awkward today. And do it on purpose. So I'm going to do something now that I think would be very awkward to do. Um, I'd very much like a smart ring. You know, Samsung's got the Galaxy Smart Ring. They weren't the first ones to come up with it. There's a company called Aura, Oura. They made smart rings before Samsung did. I think it's very, very cool, very, very useful. Um, and I'd very much like one. So, if you're feeling generous and you'd like to buy one for me, mention it in the comments and I'll reach out to you. Or you can reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram, on Instagram at Justin the Human underscore. If you are feeling generous and you'd like to get me an aura ring, I'd very much like that. Okay, that wasn't as awkward as I thought it would be. It is a little bit awkward asking people that yeah, that I don't know even. Okay, I'm rambling on because I'm trying to not sound awkward. Let's just sit with awkwardness a little bit. Do something today that you would consider awkward and have fun with it.